Welcome to Monica May's One Take Live. Please help us spread the word. I want you to tap like and click the share button to allow your family and friends to be a part of this conversation. One Take Live, we always remind you, streams live on Facebook, YouTube. We're also on Spotify, Apple, or all of your favorite streaming platforms. I am Monica May, and our guest today, if you are an Orange County resident, maybe had a ticket or any other dealing with the court system, then you might have known that the clerk of the court was a sister attorney with lots of experience, a former county commissioner who has had the clerk of the court position for some time and just won re-election. In fact, Clerk Tiffany Moore Russell has been re-elected unopposed for another term as the clerk of the court. No challengers in the race, and she'll serve for another 4 years. We wanted to have her on. Why? Because we love her. Why? Because on top of that position, she's also been installed as president of the Florida Court Clerks and Comptrollers Association, the board of directors, a position that underscores her increased influence and responsibilities. And I could go on and on and on. She was also sworn in to serve another term on the executive council of the Florida Clerks of Court Operations Corporation. Now, that's going to further solidify her commitment to overseeing. And here's the reason why we want to have her on, because we want to talk about the clerk's budget and all that means. So thank you so much for being on Monica May's One Take Live. How are you, Clerk Russell?
I'm doing well, other than it being extremely hot outside, but I'm doing well.
You know, I would have thought you said, other than being extremely busy, but I mean, we talk about that all the time and how busy you are. And the one thing that I love that you say right away, I can't do it without a great staff.
Yes.
So let's give kudos to your staff of folks,
Yes. The Orange County team is amazing. They are
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So this winning re-election unopposed, what does that mean? To be unopposed, but when was the election and who? A lot of people didn't even know that this was happening.
So in the state of Florida, every 2-4 years, depending on whatever term of office you hold, everybody has to seek either election or re-election. So I don't just get to keep my job. So I too had to file an intent to run for office. Okay, that allows for me to raise money, campaign, and say that I am running for re-election to serve from 2024 to 2028. That is what you have to do. And so there's a thing called qualifying period in the state of Florida. So there's different qualifying periods for federal races, for multi-county races, like judicial races, those kind of races. And the one for county races are in June. So between June 10th and June 14th was the ultimate qualifying week where everybody had to turn in their paperwork, pay their qualifying fee. And so on June 14th at 12 p.m., there was no one that qualified to run against me. So it's just like in your regular organization, you're unopposed. You're automatically the winner because no one else sought the position. And so because no one else qualified at the end of qualifying, I was automatically reelected unopposed.
Okay. So now and first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Now tell us all, remind us, the clerk of the court. Now I just kind of facetiously said, if you've ever had a ticket, which, you know what, I got to share something with you. And this is a very down to earth comment, but you wouldn't expect anything less from me.
Yes.
Every time we speak, and this is a transparent moment, I get some type of summons or whatever. It's like it's an attraction thing. So those come from the clerk of the court's office, but there are other things that the clerk of the court is responsible for. And I always like to remind people this: when you get something in the mail, respond to it.
Yes.
Respond.
That is true. Don't ignore it. So, Monica, our primary role, the majority of our time, is we are the official keeper of the court record. And that means we manage any filings or subsequent filings.
God bless you, darling.
Any filings involving any legal cases in our court system, we maintain those records. And so the old school was paper. In my era, it's now digital. It's the digital record. And so we have to maintain that. We are the maintainer of evidence, whether it's anything that's considered evidence in a trial, we have to secure that based upon statutory guidelines. And so that's our primary role. So majority of my employees are in a division called operations. That's the criminal, civil, family law, juvenile. They are dealing with customers who are navigating the judicial system. So there are people in the courtroom that have a black jacket with a different shield. Those are my trial clerks. And they get a blazer, so you can know that that is the trial clerk, that they are there to capture what happened, because we must keep the record pure, and make sure that it's accurate so that anyone who needs to use it can trust and rely on the information that we have. Other duties, our name comes up in over 1,000 statutes, but we are the official issuance of marriage licenses in the state of Florida. We can, and I am a third-party passport agency. So we are a passport agency here in Orange County. We handle everything from guardianship. We, of course, the receipt of all fines and fees. So if you get a traffic citation in Florida, you must pay the clerk's office. And so we have to manage that, as well as if you pay child support payments. We are the collector of fines and fees in the court system. And so those are our primary duties as the clerk.
And she says that and she runs it down, ticks it off. That's a heck of a job. That
And
in
I'm
itself.
fortunate, Monica, because in Orange County, my duties is split with Phil Diamond as the comptroller. But in every other county, the majority of the other counties in Florida, there's one person that does both duties.
Yeah.
And
And
I
so
can't imagine.
I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah.
And thank you, Phil.
Yes.
Anyway, you were reelected clerk of the court just as you were installed as president of the statewide Florida Clerks and Comptrollers Association. Tell us about that. I remember last time we spoke, you mentioned that there was a little something in the air. So tell us about that as well.
So it's exciting. So the way our association is set up, it's a succession planning type structure. So
Okay.
when you run for secretary, you already know, unless for some reason you don't seek re-election or you leave that position, you will be president in 5 years. So once I was elected as a secretary, I knew when the year was coming that I'll be installed as president, because that's kind of, we ascend every year to the next role. That's kind of the way we're structured. And so it's exciting because I get to set my priorities for the association, and make sure that I get to drive the clerk's agenda statewide. And so to be able to lead whether it's our legislative priorities, whether it's working with the state court system, it's exciting to be able to lead that and lead the clerks in a positive direction.
How much of your legalese life does that, control? I mean, that has to be a large part of it.
Actually, I don't really tap into my legal
Really?
skills as much. It really has stretched me from a leadership perspective.
Okay.
So every smart person knows you never represent themselves. So a lawyer should never represent themselves. So I have my own lawyer to handle the legal issues. What having a law degree gives me awareness. I can speak the language. I understand the industry. And so therefore, it's something when you can talk lawyer to lawyer. I understand how judges think and
Yeah.
what it means to rise when the judge enters the room. So me having that understanding, that training it makes it easier for me to understand our larger customer base, which is lawyers. So that's where it helps. But I don't really use my legal skills per se. It is more so I am tapping into my strategic thinking, my leadership skills, it's my management skills, my ability to be collaborative and work with other members and bodies to move an agenda. That's what I use the most in this capacity in the association.
What would you say your leadership style is, clerk?
I am more of a transformational leader. I believe in building up my team to work in their space as I set the direction. So for me, I believe in setting direction so that we then know where we're going. I am not a micromanager. I am
Okay.
not someone who gets in the weeds. I am really high level. Give me the short and sweet, and I come with a solution. So I would describe my style as more of a transformational leadership style, versus like a transactional or something else.
Okay. And so you say you don't get in the weeds or you
I
don't
don't.
want it?
No, I don't
Okay.
get in the weeds. No.
Okay. So when you say you don't get in the weeds, let people know what you mean by that.
What I mean by that is if I have a manager who has come to me to say, Clerk Russell, we're having an issue with how to respond to someone timely. I'm gonna get straight to, well, what is the issue? What is
Mhm.
the law or
Yeah.
statute that's mandating for us to respond timely? But I give them the freedom and the framework to figure out how to do it.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by I don't get in the weeds. I'm not going to tell you that you have to go to the bathroom on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm
Got
going
you.
to say, hey, you come back with me with a solution.
Okay. So
That's
giving them that kind of
yes,
flexibility, that freedom. Well, because if you've hired them as part of your team, then you know that they must be trustworthy and they must be
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
productive too.
Mhm.
Now, as president of the statewide Florida Clerks and Controllers Association, what does it mean for our community locally, Clerk Russell?
I think locally, I think it may be more pride because whatever
Mm.
from a statewide association, it's those things that I've kind of already tried to embed within Orange County. So hopefully, it's to take the same spirit and culture we have here locally to make it a statewide perspective. So I'll give you an example. One of my priorities is to become experts at being true digital record keepers. And what do I mean by that? That means we have to be proactive and intentional about fighting against cybersecurity. So in Orange, our citizens already benefit from that because it's been a priority for us at Orange for a long time. And
Mhm.
so I'm now taking that to a statewide presence. So for Orange County, though, I think it puts
Mhm.
us more in the center. It gets me invited to meetings because I'm president. So we have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And it allows us to get information quicker than maybe some other counties and to be able to set and mold new policy because you now have a seat at the table. And that's what I think our local citizens will see the benefit of me in this role.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Mhm.
That seat at the table is so
Yeah.
important. With the executive council of the Florida Clerks of
Mhm.
Court Operations, that's the CCOC
Yes.
role. What does that mean?
Okay. So there's two big organizations with a lot of C's. Yeah, FCC, CCCOC. CCOC is actually a statutorily created organization, which is the budget arm of clerks. So FCCC is membership driven, right? It's like you
Mhm.
join. CCOC, we're all a part of because that's the budget arm of the clerks. That's who manages
Budget on.
our fines and fees forfeiture trust fund. And so being a part of the executive council makes decisions about how we fund the clerks statewide. That is our statutory responsibility is to fund the clerks.
So now with the other piece that you're doing, I understand that you have a theme for
Yes,
this year. Working as the Florida FCCC
yes,
president.
yes,
So it's a CCOC and an FCCC
yes.
president. I love it. What kind of theme are we talking about?
So I'm a huge sports fan. So my theme is get in the game with Clerk Russell. And every we have 3 conferences a year. And to me, I think we learn so much from sports. I think we learn resilience. We learn how to, if you fall down, how to get back up. We learn how to win with grace and how to lose with grace. There's so many life lessons in sports. And so for the clerks, we are a small association as far as our elected members. It's only 68 members. So it's how to be a team, how to work together. We're not going to always agree, but how to professionally disagree and still move our agenda forward. So my theme is get in the game with Clerk Russell. And one of the themes for one of my conferences is the summers. Let's hit a home run for our communities. It's our summer conferences during baseball season. And so what do I mean? Let's hit a home run in our policies or how we're successful with the legislature to get adequate funding to better serve our customers. So to me, the sports theme is to create collegial body. Let's work together. Let's bring all of our strengths and weaknesses together so that we can win, right? Because ultimately we want to win that prize, whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's the All-Star game, or it's the championship with the NBA, or it's the goal for the Olympics, right? We're getting ready for the Olympic season. That's my theme for my administration, my presidential year. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there I am.
Yeah.
Before you married your strapping husband and had those wonderful boys, were you always a sports fanatic?
Yes, I've always been a football
Really?
fan. I've always enjoyed it. I will watch football first. I'm a huge Olympics fan. I love the Olympics, winter and summer. Doesn't matter. I'm
Mhm.
not, I don't have a preference. But yes, I've always enjoyed sports.
Tell us a little bit about Tiffany personally, as much as you'd like to share. You're from here.
Sure. I'm
Mhm.
from Orlando. I grew up in a neighborhood called Tangelo Park. I'm very proud. I still have family that live there. That's where I spent my elementary, middle, and high school years. I'm one of three girls.
Mhm.
I'm the middle child, and I dispel all the myths about a middle girl. I don't think I'm anything that they say about the middle child. Um, I went to Dr. Phillips High School. So, and I went to the University of South Florida for undergrad and Florida State for law school. Again, you've heard me mention I am a lawyer by trade. I
Mhm.
love to read and I'm a couch potato. So let me tell you, Monica, despite what people
I
can
don't see
believe,
that.
yeah, listen, I am a professional extrovert.
Mhm.
I know that in order for me to be a lawyer, when I went to try cases, I could not be shy. I had to be bold. I had to be direct. I had to say what I need to say to get what I needed from my clients, and that has helped me as an elected official, those in serving in politics. But if you ask me what I really wanted to do, I want to go home and get on my couch and watch TV. That's what I want to do. And because I have to make decisions Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I like ratchet TV. I want TV that doesn't require me to be deep in thought.
Yeah.
I just want to relax and laugh, have fun. I love action movies. I do work out. I won't say I love working out. I work out because I have to. It's just my DNA makeup. I can't afford not to for my health.
Mhm.
But I do exercise. But I do like Orange Theory. So that's my form of exercise that I like. I've been a member of Orange Theory since 2015. So that's a little bit about me.
So the interesting thing is that when you started out and you said I'm a professional extrovert, I have attended a couple of panels within the last couple of weeks where social anxiety has come up, and I can certainly relate. And I think that you can as well, because people see us out and about, but they don't realize that is not our favorite part of our job.
Yeah.
um, you may see me in front of a group of people speaking, and I can do that. But if you see me at a crowd at a concert and I have to speak, that's another thing. I want to come kind of do my job and just head
Yes.
back out.
Yes.
So I can relate to that.
Yeah,
I
I have
also
this cute thing. If I'm on my phone and I'm scrolling through Facebook and someone went to a happy hour, at first I'll say, "Oh, they didn't invite." Now, before I can even get it, I say, "Child, I wouldn't have went anyway."
so uh-huh. So that FOMO, or that whatever they call
Yeah,
that,
I don't have it at all.
yeah,
And even
don't worry about that.
and so even in the association, I will. This is going to be a stretch for me, Monica, as
Mhm,
president,
mhm,
because we like to have a lot of receptions.
mhm.
And when I go to a conference, my social battery is dead around 4:30.
Mm,
And I have to recharge. But there's a reception, there's a dinner, so I know that I have to mentally prepare myself
yeah.
because it takes more out of me to be
Mm.
present, to be there and engaged. And so, because yeah, when I'm tired of people, I got to go home and I got to plug back up and kind of
Yeah.
pick up the energy so I can come back the next day and give you Tiffany.
And do it again
Yeah,
and again and again and again.
yeah.
Let me stop right now and ask, do you have younger people working under you? And by that, I mean, are there interns in your office? Are you doing your succession? I know that Charlene is there and I know
Mhm.
that Dane, but do you have people who are actually showing interest in what you're doing and wanting to intern? Because would you allow them, A,
Mhm.
but B, what would you teach them?
So the difficult part about Clerk is I'm limited. I've had interns in the past. I don't have
Mhm.
anyone today. Um, because of the work we do, they cannot intern in the operations. because they will have access to a court record, right? So I don't allow interns within the divisions. We have opened up opportunities for our, what I call our support division. So like the finance team or someone in IT or someone in HR where they're not getting access to a legal court record. And so we've had somebody from UCF before. It's just we have not been consistent about it. But if someone said, "Hey, we want to spend the summer with you," I would have to really, because I'm very intentional when you have an intern to make sure you have something for them to take away. You don't want to waste people's summer. And so I would have to curate something for them to do. And so oftentimes when people have asked me, I will reach out to like Judge Lattimore to see if she'll share, because they can actually go to court with her, right? They can actually get some real. So that's what I'm very sensitive about using their time wisely. And so what I would typically do is if someone wants to spend a week with me, maybe not a whole summer, but maybe 1 or 2 weeks, I'll pick that time that I know they're actually going to see something that I'm doing that they can take away, right?
Okay.
That's because I've been that intern that sat around, just pushed paper and walked away saying I didn't do anything, right? And so I'm very, but there's very limited now. Roberta's my general counsel, so my senior level people can get an intern or a volunteer because they can give them projects to do, right?
Okay.
I'm typically in a meeting. How much can I share in that meeting? Can I let them in that meeting? So we would have to kind of curate a program that may be a shortened time frame, that they can still see the life of a clerk or spend a week with Clerk Russell.
And that's really why I asked that, because Tiffany, your role is just, it's not typical. It is not the usual role. And like you said, they could sit in court with Judge Lattimore or any of the other judges, but what you do is so, it's highly private. It's very, So I do understand the intentionality of that. One of the other things, funding for the clerk's office has been a challenge. How do you think your leadership will influence this? Because you'll have your hands there. And why is your budget important to the community and your customers?
So our budget is important, and what's important about it also is that it's sustainable. Because the way we are structured, if we have another hurricane, if another pandemic hits, the clerks are the only governmental agency that has had to cut their budget mid-year. And that's not good, because that means you're afraid to hire, because if you hire, then you got to either fire them, right, or laying people off. So it's extremely important so that you have enough employees to process cases, to make sure that the data, you have quality data, that you have people so it can be timely, so that the courts can move efficiently, right? You need those people behind the scenes that's processing the paperwork, redacting information. You don't want an inexperienced clerk not knowing how to redact a sexual crime case, right? You want them to have the experience to know what to redact, because that's personal information, right? You want to make sure that our information is supposed to be private is confidential. It doesn't get out there when it's not supposed to. So you want to be able to pay people their value, right? Right now I'm only at $15.25. I really would like to get to $18-20. So I need a sustainable budget to be able to be competitive, right? To compete with Wawa. I'm making less than Wawa, but these people are impacting people's lives. So the budget is extremely important, because the court system is one of our rights as citizens. It's the access to that court system. You want to make sure that the people who are working there are paid adequately and want to be there. So I have been fortunate the past 2 years. I have chaired the budget committee on CCOC, and that has truly opened my eyes to how the sausage is made, like how we put our budget together and how to move us forward. So we've made some great improvements. I've always served on the legislative committee, and the legislature has our last 2 priority bills have passed, and so we have made some incremental successes and gains. I'm trying to get to that point where we can see a more sustainable budget. As president, I get to drive that agenda. I get to set the agenda. I get to get in the rooms with the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate, and talk about the clerk's needs and where we're going. And so I'm excited about being able to be in that position. I naturally am a strategic thinker. I think the benefit that I bring is that I don't get in the weeds, and so I don't get caught up in the minutia. I look at, okay, so what is our goals? How do we get there? What does it take for us to win? And that's easy for me to keep focused on what is the what are we trying to achieve? So we have, because of the way we're structured, we have to work with the legislature to get a more sustainable model.
Hmm. I have two more questions
Okay.
as we just have about 5 minutes left. One was any new projects? I've heard a little bit of a buzz about a Winter Park courthouse. Is that happening?
Yes. So we are currently, the county is, I'm supposed to get a hard hat tour pretty soon, so I'm looking
Okay.
forward to seeing it. But our goal, that my understanding, the timeline is the courthouse will be open by the end of this year. And so we're excited because we've been in a rented space with a massage parlor school above us.
Yeah.
um, but
No.
yeah, yes, yes, yes. So I'm excited. It's a new courthouse. The county hasn't built a courthouse in 20, 30 years. You know, it hasn't had a new courthouse in a very long time. So we're excited. Um, Orange County is growing. We just in this last session got 3 new judges, and that means we're continuing to grow. That's how they determine who gets new judges. And so this Winter Park Courthouse will actually be a permanent location for one of the judges. Currently, we didn't have that. Judges were downtown, and they
Wow.
rotated to the branches. But because we have gotten so many new judges, we don't have anywhere to house them. So it's been a great partnership with Judge Munyon. We're excited. It's a full service courthouse. I think our employees would like to be there. We'll have a self-help center there. And the east side of Orange County is constantly growing as well. So we're excited. And then we'll hopefully, now that this new legislative has passed and we now get more technology funding, we will
Hmm.
now be able to explore some new technological advances that we can bring to the office.
Okay, my final question. Are you still involved with the Orange County Supervisor of Elections office with making sure that things run smoothly there?
Well, I did sign on the letter with Congressman Frost asking for more transparency. I think, there's some of our constitutional officers, everything we do, we build trust with the people, right? And so I signed on with that letter because I believe in making sure that people can trust when they vote. Is it running smoothly and as neutral as possible, right? You want to make sure that this person hasn't picked a side, that they just want to make sure that this election has been run smoothly and everybody has a right to access the office. So I will continue to watch. If Congressman Frost wants me to attend a meeting with the supervisor, I'm open to attending. Because for me, it's making sure that we're running a smooth, transparent office that the citizens can trust. And so, because again, our elections are the heart of who we are as citizens. And I want to,
Mhm.
so I did sign off on the letter that he sent asking for a meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Is there anything else that you want to share with us before we let you go?
No, I think you've covered it. I think you've
We
covered
got
it.
it. Listen, I think every time you make a move, come on, let's do an interview. And I just really want people to see you, to just know just how great you are, what you're doing with that office, the small staff that you do have. They're on top of it. I
Yeah.
always wanted to ask you, though, about that intern opportunity. I believe in internships, and that's the only way that people are going to see who they may want to reach up to, look that, and somebody that looks like them.
So
And Tiffany,
gotcha. If you know anyone special, and I'll tell you the areas that we've been open is finance, HR, human resources, IT, and communications, because they don't have to get into my system. They don't to do their job, right?
okay,
So that, if I can help explain that. But if they want to go, now a law student, Roberta has to be able to give them something to do, right?
okay,
So legal, but she's one. We don't have I don't have a large law department like the county, right? So, but we have people can come if they want, if they're finance, want to learn about government finance,
hmm,
or because communications is different for private sector versus government.
oh yeah,
And so, well, yeah, so we've had them in the past. So if you know anyone, have them reach out, and we would try to make sure we come up with something. Because in the past, we had someone from UCF and they got credit.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, this is good. Tiffany Moore Russell, clerk of the court, and wearing all the other hats that you could
Yeah.
imagine throughout that clerkdom, that system. Thank you so much for being on One Take Live with Monica May.
Thank you for having me. You have a blessed day.
You as well. And thank you for listening. And don't forget to help us spread the word. Tap that like button, click the share button as well. One Take Live streams, as you know, on Facebook Live, YouTube. We're also on Spotify, all your favorite platforms. Have a wonderful day. And thanks again for watching.